talked about. And let's talk about Kim Petras, who just released a new album over the weekend. She gave us a little detour, and I must say that I thoroughly enjoyed the album. I was before I went to, I was on my way to go see um Backrooms. Backrooms. I don't know. Every time I hear Backrooms, I gotta say it like back rolls. But yeah, I was on my way to go see Backroom. Now I'm gonna call it Backrooms. And then I went and I was like, let me put Kim's album on because I forgot that it was out. And then when I listened to it, I was like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. When you listen to it from beginning to end, it definitely slaps. But the way that she was dropping the singles, I was on the fence. Like I didn't know if I was gonna enjoy the record or whatever the case was. But I had a good time with the album, and I definitely think the smartest thing that she could have done in this whole situation was go independent because I just feel like her label did not really know what to do with her as an artist. But nevertheless, Kim is out here. She was doing promo for the record. She recently did an interview with the Fader, which is on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, definitely go and check out the interview. I think it's like 30 minutes. But yeah, go check the interview. So, but she admitted in the interview that she did live from New York that she has some regret over talking about her transition publicly when she was a child. Because I know, maybe you don't know the story. She was the youngest person, I believe, in Germany to get gender reassignment surgery. And I think it was at 16, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, wait, it was 13. Sorry. Because they said she discussed her transition on Stern TV in 2006 at the age of 13. She went on to have gender affirming surgery in 2008 and became known as the world's youngest person to have it. Because, yes, so the German singer who is trans has released her new album Detour, which features the song Brutalist. She explained that the song is about traveling around Germany with her dad to get hormone therapy when she was a child. Now, speaking of Fader, she said, I was 12 talking about it, which I kind of regret because privacy was really blurred, but I was really unashamed of talking about it because I was a kid and I was like, this is the way it is. But now that I'm in America, there's so much shame around sex. Sexual education is such a taboo. And it's such a weird climate right now, especially about trans kids in particular. They're the enemy right now. Now, despite feeling some regret, she said she's made the right choices that she's proud of to this day, saying, but at the same time, I have people saying I ruined my body and I ruined my life. They don't know me at all. Well, this is what she wanted. And at least she had parents or I mean, I don't know if her mother was around or if she's still around, whatever the case is, but at least her father, who of all people, you have a man supporting their boy for wanting to become a girl, especially with all the things that we hear. That at least she had a parent and people who were in her life that supported her decision. She felt she was in the wrong body. Her father decided to help her instead of the alternative, which would have been how a lot of trans kids end up when their parents or people around them, they don't have that support system. They unalive themselves. They mutilate themselves. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. They end up in a deep depression. Sometimes they take their own life. Well, I did say unalive themselves. So, um, at least she had that support. I think at that young age, she was showing like, look, I was going through what I'm going through. There's so many kids that are in similar situations. And she is the face. And I'm not saying that she has to be the face of all trans kids, but she's a face that they could look at as a prime example of, see, this person did it. She resonates on what she did in her, to transition to who she is. I resonate with that. I'm going to do the research. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to find out more of like what that journey was like. And now she has a song about it. So having that sort of point of reference, it helps a lot of young trans kids who are out here struggling. That's the way I would look at it. But yeah, she's absolutely right. When you go in in other countries, they're very much open and transparent when it comes to sex and gender identity and all those things. In America, there's such a shame around sexuality, being sexual. They're still out here ridiculing Madonna at 67 for refusing to not be sexual. Because I guess when you get to be 40, you're supposed to stop fucking. So you get to fuck from the time you 18 or sometimes younger to 35 or 39 and a half or 3/4, and then you gotta just be wither away and die and be a eunuch. No, that's not how the world works. And so by trying to shield people away from the ways of the world and things of that nature, that only makes them more curious when you try to hide things from people. And there's nothing dangerous about trans people. And I'm sure that it's a lot of these people who've never even encountered nor been around someone who's trans who spew this anti-trans rhetoric. So yeah, that is true. It's like when you're going around saying that she ruined her body and she ruined her life, you don't know her. Because when you look at her, she seems fine to me. And so she went on to say, they don't know my history, that I went to so many psychologists and so many doctors, and that it was a real thing, that I had an assessment and they gave me an answer about why I got to get hormone treatment. It saved my life. And there's people who are like, this saved your life, but you ruined everything. What are you talking about, Willis? Ruin everything regarding what? Ruin it for who? How does she ruin everything? The fact that we have a regime that has decided to make trans people the scapegoat while they're out here robbing and pillaging all of America of its resources and our global economy. So what does trans people living in their truth have to do with all the other things that's happening in the world? It's a distraction. Make you hate, put a face for you to hate on while we over here stealing out of the pot, the prize pot that's supposed to be for the American people. So how did she ruin the situation? And I've said this before. People just think that trans kids wake up one morning and decide, you know what, I'm just gonna cut my dick off. Like y'all think that's how that works. Because y'all think it's always about what's in between your legs. There's a whole process that for most trans kids that they have to go through in order to get to that solution. There's some that go off and do things in other ways, but for the most part, it is about going to different psychologists if you want to do it the right way, going to many therapists, having them decipher, and you having those conversations on, are you trans or are you not trans? And if they want to, and then come to the decision, okay, so based off of the conversations that we had and the consistency of things, I'm going to supply you with hormone blockers and hormone treatment and all these different things because I see that this is who you are, that these are the thoughts that you have, and I'm trying to save this kid's life from wanting to unalive themselves or whatever they were going through, depression, anxiety, whatever the case is. So people need to respect people at where they're at and who they are. So yeah, so she has an album out called Detour. Um, I definitely feel like, yeah, go check it out if you can. And the songs, they said that she debuted a number of songs and self-funded music videos because now she's going the DIY approach, similar to Slater, where it comes to and it seems like a lot of the fans like this home video, no budget type of music video. It feels, I guess maybe it feels more grounded, more relatable in that way. But yeah, she released songs like Freak It, I Like Your Look, and Need for Speed. The album came out with some delays, and so she did release a YouTube and SoundCloud exclusive 4-track EP called Pre-Tour, which got fans excited. So, as I said before, if you want to, definitely check out her Fader interview, which is on YouTube, and definitely give a gander to Detour if you can, because it is a good record. And I like the fact that we have a lot more artists who are taking their career into their own hands, that they're not letting a label determine their fate, their creativity. Because I truly feel like they set her up for failure with the Feed the Beast album, and y'all had her performing in arenas that she couldn't even fill up. So she is an amphitheater girl. She's a small theater girl, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like the intimacy of a small venue where it's just like maybe 3 to 5,000 people in a room. That you can get a lot done and be more creative in that way rather than I'm in here in this giant arena that, it's so many people you can't even get up in there. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Have you listened to Detour yet? And what did you think of Kim's thoughts regarding her talking about that she regrets talking about her transition at a young age? I know she might feel like that now, but I definitely feel like her talking about her transition at a young age, it's those people who talk about that you ruin your life and you ruin everything or whatever. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But I'm sure there's some. Just think of the positives that there are some young people out there who feel that because you spoke out at such a young age, it resonated with them, and they have a point of reference to look at in regards of their own trans journey. So, whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below.